hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in the Four Keeps, part 12 of our Abyss miniature arc. Today is March 13th, 2023. Happy birthday, Mom, and everyone else out there, you are loved. So that is something that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these games, other than, of course, me wishing my mother a happy birthday. But this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards where anywhere audio casts are being made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things being made available for free, if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. So if you have any questions for myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us again at our Patreon at patreon.com/indooradventures, or you can join us on our Discord. The link can be found in the Twitch chat to the side or in the description of this video or audio cast down below. But let's say you already support us on Twitch, you already support us on YouTube and Twitter and Patreon and all of those other wonderful places that still currently exist on the internet, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this fantastic show even more? Well, guess what, Acorns? I got your back, quite literally, in fact, because if you go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, shower curtains, aprons, clocks, and I don't know where it is, but we also have face masks with the symbol of Tiamat upon them. Yes, LB is showing off one right now, designed by our very own Cyberwolf 1201, where the proceeds of all of our merch currently is going to help support Doctors Without Borders. So if you would like to help support a good cause, or possibly help support the show, you can again go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is indooradventure.redbubble.com. But that is it for my opening spiel. So hey, RJ, who are you playing today?
Hey everybody, I'm RJ. Today I'm playing Caelum, the Shatterkai Wizard Fighter. We both go by he, him. I'm also a nuisance.
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. I ran to go get that mask, and then when I ran back, Simon freaked out and he spilled my drink. So add that to the tally. I'm playing Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian Fighter. We both go by she, her, and I am a mess.
Oi, I'm Cyber. I use he or whatever pronouns. I play Arjhan. Arjhan is a Draconian Scrum Master. He, him.
Hey everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener, she, her. I'm playing as Coriander, the Eldritch Paladin, she, they, and he.
And I am the indoor adventurer, he, him. And tonight I shall be your dungeon master. And even before we get into the recap, I just want to give a small shout out to JD Lady, who has been a subscriber for 54 months on this
Target
channel.
Acquired.
It's wild. JD was one of our original subs, so whenever I see them in chat, I always just want to make a shout out and say thank you for always supporting us. Like I've said, this channel started 5 years ago. I need to make some serious updates on the assets for the YouTube page. That's it. But it's been a great time. I'm always having a great time with my friends. I especially had a great time last time we played this game. So, if y'all will remember where we last left off, Caelum, you had discovered that in the petroglyphs to the north of Vascor, there was a outline of a door engraved into the side wall of this cliff face, where, using your lodestone that you had as well as 4 dried elven fingies, you were able to actually insert them into the door, like shape that then revealed itself to be a chamber that you were familiar with, a chamber that you associated with the Order of the Silver Quill. Now, upon being in this order and sort of looking around, you realized that the inside, this inner dome, is what looks to be like a star field, or at least was a star field of the time of when this chamber was created. Another interesting thing of note about this chamber, there was an individual there that you have not seen in many, many, many moons by the name of Brother Groon. Because you had overcast an animate object and you rolled really well on our magical haha chaos table, this statue that was of Brother Groon has gained sentience, and much like in the D&D comics or even Baldur's Gate 3, sometimes statues retain memory of the people that they were designed of, as Brother Groon seemed to come alive with the same etchings and arcane markings upon them as the statue that had been made of Brother Groon. Now, Brother Groon, seeing you, Caelum, identified you as Corvain Nightfeather, which you are not. Corvain Nightfeather has not existed in so many words for the last 1,500 years or so, and you began to explain to Brother Groon.
I remember specifically saying, I go by Caelum now.
Yep, and he seemed totally like, awesome. Fine with that. Love that. To which I believe we ended Caelum, at least that episode, reading A Home for Owls to Brother Groon, and he seemed very interested in the book from the small man. That was the last we had seen of Caelum, as other members of our party did end up trying to reach out to him via sending, to which Caelum more or less responded, I got into some shit at the glyphs, Brother Groon is alive, be back soon.
Yeah, so here's where I introduce my new character.
Yes.
Caelum's just gone forever.
It's just... when
he's just there
he went
telling the
feral
story.
researcher. That happens in this world. Sometimes researchers just leave and become one with whatever they're researching.
Are you talking about Haterai?
No.
What?
What? No. No. Choose. Caelum was caught up with that last session. Speaking of last session and people that were caught up in some shit, Talos made a point of speaking on more or less friendly terms with both Philip, Gwen, and Todd. And as a result, Gwen, you fought Talos one-on-one, and after surviving a blade of disaster strike that cut the entire side of a building in half and shattered the electrified metal cage that you were fighting in, you withstood, and as such, Talos liked the cut of your jib, and gave you a bottle of his own personal lightning that you could break to call on his aid at any time as you choose. He also reminded you of the magical properties of the eye that you had received long ago, and it wasn't just a cool mark of status, it actually had stuff on it, but this time I've made the stats so that
Thank
way
you.
They work in D&D Beyond. Hey-o. So thankfully, Gwen, you were able to gain these abilities. You gained Talos' favor. Speaking of things who have gained Talos' favor, individuals, creatures, friends, our dear and lovely Todd apparently showed their mettle to Talos on more than one occasion, so much so that Talos blessed Todd and turned him into a champion beast, bestowing an element of divinity onto this otherwise unruly goat. Todd grew 3 sizes, gained a fleece of gold, and prompted to just immediately kick Philip in the chest, thus removing Philip from his contract to Tharisden, which was the reason why you had been speaking to Talos in the first place. Who would have thought? At this point, Philip suggested, hey, maybe we should get some sending stones, and that way the long distance won't be so bad that if I find a dangerous-looking book, I can talk to you about it first. And Gwen, you agreed. At this point, Talos said, okay, where would the two of you like to be sent backwards? Gwen, you said, I want to go towards where Arjhan is, because where Cori is currently, I mean, she was at a spa. She was hanging out. Arjhan was riding on the back of on the back of a red dragon through hell, and that seemed pretty cool. So obviously, Talos sent you there. You did ask Talos for healing beforehand, to which Talos replied, that's not my portfolio, and then bamfed you into the hells with like 1 hit point left after a fight with a deity. Now, speaking of being in the hells, Arjhan, you decided that atop Ross's back, this was, after speaking with Tiamat, going to be the perfect time to inquire to Zariel about gaining her assistance in the whole Orcus problem in big quotes, obviously. It's more of a situation than anything else. Now, speaking with Zariel, she seemed amenable to this whole fight. She's on board. She was there the first time that you encountered Asmodeus. You have like a permission from Tiamat. Everything is kind of relying on this, and being the individuals that you are, she's like, dope, can do. I can for sure lead several battalions from the front on the Blood War to help with this specific instance of Orcus. You decided that the best place to summon Orcus was going to be in a caldera far north of the main city on Avernus, to which Zariel said that she would be able to gather her forces and get everyone there, but she would need at least 7 days in order to do so. Arjhan, you, Rasa, a very, very beleaguered Gwen, said, that sounds like a great time. And that is, I believe, then your group returned to Verstaine. Before you returned to Verstaine, another interesting point was Cori, in an attempt to figure out how best to be in two places at once, spoke to the individual known as Saul Wren, realized that Wren was a member of the doppelganger race that lives in the far northern reaches of the world. Wren, or the concept of Wren, as this is not their first iteration, is actually cloning themselves to prolong their life and maintain the idea that they are a dragon who actually died a while ago. They have sort of been like, oh, I'll just take on the hat and now I am that person. And they've been doing, apparently, a pretty good job of it. But when they showed Cori the process that they separate themselves, Cori realized, you know what, this really isn't for me. This guy's being fucking weird. I want none of this. And so you decided that you were going to go to the spa and just sort of figure it out at that point. Lightning bolt strikes. Philip is there. Todd is there. And they sort of fill you in as to the whole Talos situation as best as Philip and Todd can. They explain that Tharizdun really isn't going to be a thing anymore. That is when you heard screams from outside the city streets of Verstaine. You ended up leaving. Philip said, none of that for me, thanks. Todd and I are going to stay right here in the spa having a bath. Cori, you decided to go out. You see Rasa. You see the rest of the group. Oh, the Heralds of Tiamat have now reunited with an actual red dragon, and the battle plan is what is currently on the table, with all of you meeting at the base in the large opening of the door of the Dragon Forge. Of course, food is brought. Drinks are brought. And as the battle group is sort of amassing, let's go over to Caelum, as you were gone last session, so it feels very poignant to start with you to catch you up, so that way I don't have to try and figure out where the time dilation is. So, Brother Groon, it has assisted you in or at least like you have sort of refreshed them as to everything that's happened. How much do you tell Brother Groon?
And so
2?
that's the main reason why I came here, is to figure out why Tharizdun wants his champion to touch the pictographs on the wall. Literally divulged everything.
Yeah, Brother Groon just like sort of like nods and processes all of this. It seems like they have no issue following along, even being as ancient and as tired as they are, and having just gained sentience? Question mark.
There's a massive chalkboard with like writing on it.
Oh, one of these, like one of the chamber walls is like one of those like large hall chalkboards, but it's actually keyed in with a arcane script. So all you have to do is just like think about it, like in the process of writing it, and it will magnify. Or it could even be a book that literally you just write with a like erasable ink and it translates.
I like
onto
the
this
idea
large
of a
board.
giant like beautiful minds web of red
Yes.
thread
All
along the
over.
wall.
That wasn't what the chamber looked like an hour ago, but that's what the chamber looks like now after Caelum is done tying all of these threads, telling the story. Like, obviously, unseen servants are helping out with this whole process as you're sort of directing, and Groon is just,
He has to shuffle some papers out of the way just to tie off the little red thread at Brother Grun one last time.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of it, he's just sitting there with a finger up and like a thread wrapped around it.
And that's what led me to you.
Can I let go of this?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thank
Shink.
you. And like he'll like put it on like an ever burning torch with that bluish silvered light coming through it. It doesn't seem to be emitting heat at all. It seems like it
No.
is more just
Light based.
arcane in nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's able to tie it off on that, so that way his hands are free. And he says, well, have you found what you're looking for?
Oh no, I have not. I've been totally distracted this entire time.
You came here to research Celestian's Ark, correct?
Celestian's Ark and any possible motive for which Tharsden wishes to touch the pictograph.
As far as Tharzin's motivation, that is like looking at a pool of water and wondering why it is a pool of water.
You know, out of all of the things I've read, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's made the most sense so far.
Tharsden's motivation is as random as the winds. If he wished for his champion to touch this pedestal, touch this cliff face, petroglyphs, I am unsure as to, as far as my knowledge goes, a reason as to why he would need that. His quest for young Philip could have been bounce a ball exactly 12 times, but instead he chose this.
Right, Philip. There are a lot of things I need to take care of when I get back.
Nods. As for what you were able to gain from the Ark, from these petroglyphs, the petroglyphs, as far as I knew, was that they acted as a history. We as a society did not always use lettering for our words.
So you're saying we live in a society?
I could in this voice if it would make you happy.
It's fine. It's fine.
Now, from what our research indicates, it is a trajectory of sorts. It showed a entry point and an exit point upon this plane. That being said, we know that it comes to the planes in a cyclical nature, as do most things that orbit. As to what the Ark orbits, I am unsure. To gain an understanding of the trajectory, you would need to be able to understand its path, find the histories thereof, and calculate it from multiple dimensions, multiple places where the Ark has seen its arrival. Otherwise, we can only hope.
I think I have an idea.
Sort of tilts his head and nods.
The Queen of Ravens has a room relegated to lost memories. There are thousands, maybe even millions of memories in there. Some of them have to have seen the star at some point.
Potentially. That would cover one reality.
Maybe I can ask Arjhan to ask the other Arjhans if they have this sort of information as well.
I think that would
Yeah.
be very wise.
But to what end?
If you believe that Caius has infected this ark, then you will know your point of defense. There is never weakness found in knowledge.
No. Only strength.
Nods.
I have some things to think about, Brother Groon. I need to get back to my group.
And Brother Groon will nod and says, until you arrive again, or any of the other members of the Quill, I will take a nap and wait for their arrival. You would think that it's odd being tired after so long a slumber, but rightfully, there are few things that will tire me out more than napping.
Caelum will will jump down, pat the leg of Brother Groon, and hurry off.
Okay. So, Caelum, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have just reconstructed a petroglyph that was a destroyed natural area that scientists and researchers have been studying for several hundred years, you're guessing at this point, and then opened a door in a wall, walked through, and then the door closed behind you. When you exit, there are going to be more researchers and more wizards that are trying to understand the nature of what happened. What is Caelum doing to prepare to either dissuade, recruit into the Silver Quill, say, hey, don't worry about it? What's the game plan here? You've just changed a national monument.
The door opens. Caelum puts on the owl mask.
Researchers talk, oh my god.
The door closes behind Caelum with a soft shut. Turning to the rest of the researchers.
There's a silence, a notable, palpable tension as they didn't see you go in with the owl mask.
This is mine, but...
Yeah, no, they didn't know that, though. So, yeah.
You're free to research this wall to your liking, but if you open this door, I will know.
Make an intimidation check with advantage. Use the Batman voice.
I will know. Natural 20 for a 19.
Okay. How do you want this intimidation to look? You're already doing the Batman voice. You have the owl hood on. Is there any,
No.
No?
There's no magic. It is him standing there, staring daggers at these researchers, but you can feel, the hostility. If you open this door, he will know.
Okay. Can I take one small tick up from that? You've seen Soul Reaper, right?
Yes.
When they are in the city and they can't sense the spiritual pressure of death, and they're like, oh, he must be super weak then, and then they zoom out and it shows it encompassing the whole area.
This is just the normal.
Yeah, this is just you can't sense him because everyone is around him. I feel like it's that way where there is none of that magical pressure, but if we zoomed back, there would just be
a dome,
this aura around Caelum of just don't fucking do that.
There's
have
one
d-
guy on the fringes just shitting himself because he's in the middle of the pressure.
He was just there as a scribe. He's a junior researcher. He's a
no, I feel
TA.
bad.
He's casting light in the corner. That's his job.
Yeah, so okay, you have told them all. The two individuals that you arrived with, Olin the dwarf, and Osmond.
I'm
leader
about
of
to
the
make
Artificers.
Osmond's life hell right now.
Oh yeah, he is like just like blinking and like kind of pulls you aside, like asks.
Caelum
like, "What did
approaches
you see?"
Osmond, puts like a hand on his shoulder, like jovially. All the other researchers are like, "Oh no."
Yeah, like oh shit, like that clear threat and that guy are friends. Bleh.
Oh, my mentor is sleeping in there. I'll be sending out invites to a super secret club later. Do you want to join?
Osmond just nods, and
Cool.
you can kind of tell that like even if he's not into the idea of a super secret club because he doesn't know who else is going to be in the super secret club, he does want to know what's behind that door. And even though you said your mentor, it's just like that was a ruin. Who's been teaching you? How have you been getting in there? We saw how you got in there, but still. So yeah, Osmond he's down for it.
But yeah, if you know any like-minded individuals who are down for research and just hanging out,
I
give me their
like to
portfolio.
hang out. Keep
Oh, yeah.
with it, says Olin, this ancient dwarf.
Olin, do you know anything about the Silver Quill?
He says, I heard about a group of plucky young startups ages ago in my youth. I thought about pursuing some of their works, but they were, I don't want to say below me at the time.
Well, we could certainly use someone with tenure.
I have far more than 10 years beneath my beard, but
God bless.
I'll be sure to assist in this sneaky club.
Olin, could you make sure that Oz, God, what's his name?
You can just call him
Oz.
Oz. Yeah.
Oz, can you make sure
Olin
Olin gets back to where he needs to? I need to reconvene with my friends.
I'll be sure to do so. Olin, yes? Where do you need to go? Wherever that takes me. And he points to the kineticycle that
You can
Oz
go
has built.
your own way.
Yeah, he just seems to love riding in this super fast machine, so he's down to hang out with the artificers in the meantime. Now,
If you were a gnome, you could make your Iron Defender a motorcycle.
you could be rad as hell. Or a goblin, depending on WoW logic. But
yeah.
that being said, so Caelum, you want to get back to the rest of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So, Arjhan, it is you, Cori, Ren, Jirana, or no, Jirana I think went off. Kendek, because this is kind of his building, or where he typically is. A rather tired Gwen, and I think that's everybody. I think that's everybody at the meeting proper. I don't think that there are any other named characters that are here.
Philip isn't here.
Who?
Philip.
Philip was at the spa. Philip did not want to join into this because that seemed very well out of his pay grade. He watched a very scary fight, and he needs a good soak about the whole thing. You and Cori did just share a little bit of like an eye conversation in regards to Ren just being here. And Arjhan, from your experience with Cori, this seems like the same kind of look has taken on Cori's face as whenever you bring up Arillo Thread Twister. So you're guessing that like something happened. You're not sure what, but maybe that's a conversation that'll happen in a hot second. Caelum, you end up coming out of Gideon, as I assume that is the easiest place for you to arrive. And you just see that there is the Dragon Forge. Doors open, and there is like the tail of a red dragon, just sort of like doing little like happy flips at the end of it. That's sort of like tucked out of the door here to the Dragon Forge, and you can hear that there is like quite a few voices coming from inside. And you also see that Gwen is like standing there, but it's like barely standing. I don't know. Gwen, did you end up gaining any health, or are you still at 1?
No. I got healed.
Yeah, Cori gave you the lay on hands, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Gwen is still looking like aesthetically.
There's still blood.
Oh yeah, blood, and you're
A giant new scar. Her shirt's ripped.
There is a puff of feathers that just surrounds Gwen, and 2 arms go down and bear hug the back.
Hey, buddy.
Ah, you're alive.
Oh yeah, boy, am I alive! I fought my god, and I didn't go down. I got Philip taken care of. Todd is like a godling now, so.
You know, that tracks. Oddly enough, it could get weirder.
We
Caelum
took
reaches
care.
his back pocket and thwips Cori some gold.
Patches.
Yeah. So wait. Anyways, so I took care of the we don't have to worry about the Tharson thing with Philip anymore. We handled that. So I handled that. I went like 3 rounds with Talos, and boy,
Caelum,
he stabbed me. Look.
Caelum will crane his neck over Gwen's shoulder to look at the scar. Takes off the mask, furrows his brow, and then just raises an okay sign and a finger and like just slowly approaches.
No. Not like that. Not like that. I don't think Philip's into that. Anyways, no. It was a battle to the death, and then I didn't die, so it was great. I also gave Talos a really cool scar, like right on his ankle.
Cool. Like, is it shaped like an anchor? Because that's a bit of a faux pas, isn't it?
No,
It's
just a scar from my axe. It was awesome.
I gave sentience to a statue of Brother Grun, who has all of his mannerisms and memories before he taught me.
Ah, where's the other brother Grun?
Dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When I went missing, I killed him.
Oh,
Yeah, you know that whole traumatic moment in the whole plot line where I was very broody and moody for a while?
I remember, because it wasn't you, and then you melted.
Yeah. And I got like mind jacked by Father Linar and sent to kill both my mentor and my father.
Yeah.
He's cool.
You look great. You look good. No,
Thanks.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's okay. Brother Grun's great.
He does not remember me at all.
Oof. Well, building new memories, right? Ah.
Yeah, he calls me Corvain.
Oh. Ew.
Yeah. And he's waiting for the rest of the Silver Quill to get back to him. I didn't break the news that it's been a while.
Yeah, let him live out his fantasy for a little while there.
Yeah. But he did mention, Arjhan, I would like to speak to you.
Okay.
Actually, everyone should be here for this conversation. The pictographs.
Everyone is here for the conversation.
Yep,
there's Arjhan. It's like getting like maps and notes and everything, like all on like one of the like plastic tables that you get out for like
corporate meeting
picnics.
Yeah.
Or something.
I feel like it's one of those, like, Caelum's been having this conversation, then, Arjhan, I need to talk. Camera pans, and there's just the rest of everyone who's there, like, already set up at the table. Like, hello.
Rasa, don't move. Begins to explain to Arjhan what he learned from Brother Grun. And asks if the other Arjhans could probably find a way to help triangulate the course of the comet? Because the comet might be infected with Caius.
I can ask. It would have to be the last thing that I do in a day, because every time I try to contact my echoes, it seems like it wears me down.
I get that. I'm used to being the telephone, so... All right, well, that's everything I learned. Excuse me. Walks over to Rasa, 2 arms up.
And Rasa will just like bend the big head down and just sort of like give you a little nuzzle.
Yay. Walks back. I'm ready.
So, Ross and I just returned from Avernus with Gwen. We spoke to Zariel. She's on board. She's completely on board. She will gather her forces in 7 days at a caldera here at a place where I think I can send Gideon. I would just need to remove one of our other touchdown locations. It is okay for me to hallow the ground there, but yeah, that will take me 24 hours and 1,000 gold pieces of components that I do not have at the moment.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, we may have leverage against August. If we summon him here, we may be able to use a Hellfire weapon to
Possibly send him back to the river Styx as a lemur? Or a lemur?
as a lemure, but not do that, because that would remove everything that he is or never was. But threaten him with that, and have it, just in case.
I also still have the Demonomicon
Which,
in my back pocket.
which we may need to use to bring him here, and any other demonic defenses that it has, magic circle, any other sorts of protection things.
Right.
Now, Rasa is also now the general of a legion for Tiamat.
And Rasa sort of preens a little bit and like puts her right shoulder forward, because there is that like warlike barding, and you can see that there is a emblem of Tiamat's forces with her rank and status.
Unholy shit. Congratulations, Rasa.
And Rasa just like nods, and like you can tell that like they don't know how to verbalize how happy they are about the turn of events.
If dragons are like cats, she's chirping.
But right now that legion needs recruits, and I believe you need to go back to Narth to get those.
I have a few individuals who I might be able to rally to the cause. Whether or not they accept the offer is entirely up to them. However, there are a group of us who came to Tenerife together, so I think that they would be my best bet in order to, bring to the hells. They would love it there. It's so warm, and Tiamat was so nice. And like you can see that Ren like slow head turn, like she's what? Okay. Like was
She's
not
very nice, actually.
Yeah, I was not expecting to hear Tiamat is super nice. But as it turns out, if you get to know somebody over 20 levels.
Oh, I should get rid of that. Sorry, I was looking through my inventory and I saw that I still had a band of loyalty on me. And I know the passphrase, so...
Yeah.
All right, well, What day is today?
Today is Sarcrest 29th, which would be April 29th IRL.
Oh my gosh, I have not eaten at all. Can we like have a quick luncheon and then go do our thing?
Absolutely.
Cool.
But yeah, I just want to make sure within what I want to make sure that we have a time frame for us going to Flegettos, because we need a Hellfire weapon, and that means we need to go talk to Catastrophe at Stone Metal R&D.
Right.
And we can probably visit your father, Cori.
Sounds nice.
And we do need a ride to the Astral Sea.
Got it. It'd be nice to see you, Glon, again. I'm taking bread orders.
All of them.
Okay.
So many.
None for me, thanks. I've already had some today.
How much bread do you want? Yes. Big red, adult-sized red dragon. Bread.
The waiter of Olive Garden walks over with the cheese and just says, "Say when," but you stay silent as they're cranking it out.
3 days later.
Please,
when?
God, start lower.
There's been a shift change while you're doing this. Like, they've had to bring in new
Izzy,
people.
20. Please start lower. I beg of you.
I beg of you.
Okay. So, looks like we're having a little short rest, small luncheon while all of this is happening. Great. Fantastic. So you are more than welcome to take a short rest, or if you just want to go through the rest of the day, no worries on my end. Nothing's going to come at Verstaine. Not while all of you are here, and there's also a red dragon and other things. Like, we would just say, and they lost, and move on. So what do you guys feel like doing?
Mostly I want to use Arcane Recovery to recover a 7th level spell.
Okay. 7th level? Is it really that high at this point?
Yeah, I can go all the way to
Wild.
9th.
Arcane Recovery is bonkers.
You think like Warlock's getting everything at 5th level on a short rest is wild? Talk about like a very long day. I can cast multiple 9th level spells.
I know. We've seen it. You've action surged into doing it twice.
No, I can't action surge until next level.
Okay.
I had to use a overcharge.
That one. All right. So that being said, you were able to get more bread. You were able to do more of these things. Philip finishes up at the spa, and at this point, does have additional barding to have Todd be their mount. Todd seems impartial to this. They don't seem like they care whether or not Philip rides them, mostly because at this point Todd's fleeced like the fur of this goat, which I know goats are normally like short hair, but sometimes you can get a curly hair goat and they're very cute. This large poof, Philip does not weigh enough, even with his armor, to cause the poof to go down enough to really affect Todd in one way or the other. And they are getting ready to head south.
Whenever Philip leaves the spa, Arjhan is going to make sure that he pulls him into the Tower of the Claw.
And Philip will, as they're being let in, just, I know that...
Don't say anything. Don't say anything right now. And he is going to bring him to his office, where there is a set of cue cards signed up that Arjhan is going to be picking up through this. And Arjhan is going to say, he's going to slide over his ID. I found this. It seems like you've misplaced it. And the cue card says, yes, thank you. I seem to have misplaced it.
Yes, thank you. I seem to have misplaced it.
it's been a while since we've talked. Is there anything new going on? And he'll flip to another cue card that says, yes, I'd like to try other careers.
Yes, I would like to try other careers.
And drops the key card to one that says, so if it's okay, I would like to resign.
So if it is all right with the powers that be, I would like to resign from my position.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that can certainly be arranged. Just hand in your token.
Yes, of course.
Arjhan will sign something and turn his contract back to him. And his next key card just says, sign the contract.
Philip will sign.
And whenever he stops, it will just, like, dissolve, burn away. And the token will disappear.
And Philip, like, looks at it, just sort of, like, shakes his head. If I had just explained that I was acting under duress, would that have been cause?
I have no idea.
Neither do I. I like your way. This was succinct. Now, I do understand that I am no longer employed by you. And for that, I am thankful. Which, strangely enough, might not be something that you hear often in an exit interview. Is this an exit interview, or are we?
I suppose.
All right. That being said, what I have, idea-wise, if you would still like to remain, let's say, a reference for any future work that I might be looking towards. I don't want to leave on bad footing. I'm going to be going to the Gated Glen. To purchase items for myself and Gwen. And then I was going to be going back past this way on my way to where the Goliaths are, or possibly to Greenreach. That being said, are there any supplies that you would like for me to move for you? I might not be the best fighter, but I do know a good road.
That's a long trip, though.
It is a long trip, yes. I do have a divine patron, I guess is the best way to put it. And motions towards Todd. You could tell he wanted to say steed, but didn't want to be diminutive of Todd's current status. I'm not sure how many miles per hour this baby can get, but
if I wanted to get 1,000 gold pieces of religious herbs, incense, that sort of thing, would you be able to get that here within 6 days?
6 days?
5 days.
5. Ooh, that's a quick turnaround. Let me... And he'll, like, kind of go over to Todd. And you hear him just, don't fuck me on this one. And he puts his forehead against Todd's. And he, like, thinks about it. How holy do they have to be? Like, do they have to be, like, is it like an ancient grove? It has to be like this specific one? Or can it be more of a newer thing? You know what? Leave the details to me. I'll get you your holy herbs. 5 days? 6 days.
5 days.
5 days.
5 days to bring them here.
Well, then I better start packing. I think I have an idea. There is a town not very far from here that has a statue of like an angel or something in the middle of it. It's by a lake. The people there are...
Silverford absolutely does not have 1,000 gold pieces of incense.
Philip is going there to at least look for it. He might meet some herb and greenery traders along the way. But yeah, so Philip has agreed that he will do his best to track down that amount. And he says he received some platinum pieces from Gwen. That should be enough to cover it. And he'll try and get...
I'll front the 1,000.
Oh, Philip is much more excited about this as well. And he's going to thank you. He's going to look forward to doing business with you. And he is going to take the money, wish you well, and go and find Gwen to say one last goodbye before he leaves.
Right. Whenever he leaves, I will call in Yule because I have another thing that I will ask.
Yeah, Yule,
That's
like
a surprise.
ever present from the shadows. Yes. So. Do you have need of me?
Yes, that's something that I would like to see if we can arrange. And we can jump over to somebody else.
Okay. So Newell nods. And Arjhan, as you begin to so this is what I had in mind. The camera will fade over. And it is Philip walking over towards Gwen. Gwen, I'm assuming that... would Gwen want to go to the spa after fighting Talos? That's probably also where the closest thing to a medical center that Verstein has is. That's where a lot of the healing poultices and other things like that are located.
I think that she's probably just in, the trough that they have for the animals?
Yeah.
She's dunking her shirt in there and getting the blood off.
Incredible. Fantastic. And as you are trying to get the blood off, you hear the swishing sound of liquid. And then you see a greenish bottle next to you, and it is Philip saying, "Vinegar will get that right out."
Oh. Why do you have vinegar?
Why don't you? It's good for cooking, it's good for cleaning, it's an all-around purpose liquid. And all you have to do is just make really shitty wine.
Okay. I can't drink it though, so it's only half useful to me.
Well,
just pours it on her.
I mean, you could. I've heard that it has medicinal properties, though, as you know.
Oh, right.
I
Good
am
for
not.
digestion.
Mostly, it's some folks say an apple cider vinegar is really kind of what gets that going, but that's not really what I came here to say. I want you to know that I have been tasked with a very important job by Arjhan. Outside of Tyrant Security, I am no longer employed.
Oh, good.
So I am self-employed. I've never really not known what it's like to not have a job. For a while, my job was training and being on the cusp of adventure, and then my job was trying to track you down, and then my job was teaching the Goliath. You know how that is, but
you jumped around a bit.
But I think that this is something I am good at, and I think that this will help me in the long run, because like most relationships, some relationships, I found a lot of enjoyment in the chase, as it were, trying to track you down, trying to go from place to place. But I realized that I enjoyed being on the road. I enjoyed seeing the countryside. I enjoyed getting to talk to people and to hear their stories and to be able to gain inspiration for my own performances, for all of that.
Yeah.
In those travels. And so I have offered to Arjhan my knowledge of roads less traveled, to track down holy herbs, religious herbs in context. I'm guessing I need to find like some sage, maybe some birch, some
Smelly
mountain
sticks.
ash. Mountain ash is always going to be a good one, though I think that's more for like shapeshifters. He didn't specify. It just has to be like religious in context, I guess.
Yeah.
And so Todd and I were going to go track that down, and he gave us a turnaround of 5 days. So Todd has informed me that they are very fast now, that they are quicker than a lightning bolt in their words, and I know that it's a little strange to know that Todd and I can communicate. Trust me, it is just as strange for me, because half of it is just him asking for things. Goodies to snack
like
on.
to eat.
Yes.
Yeah, Sounds right.
So, whereas before, I mean, Todd and I could always like communicate, but this is a little...
Yeah.
It's like he's speaking people, and it's very upsetting. Not upsetting. I'm just not used to it, you know?
Yeah. You'll get used to it.
Well, I've always said that he was one of the best companions that I had on the road. And now that will be true. And so I wanted to let you know that I have given what you said into consideration, that I am going to do the things that will try and make me happy. But I can have a stubborn streak, and so I am going to also be getting these herbs because I know that you will need them. And this is a lot less dangerous, I assume, than writing in a book, which I didn't think would ever be something vastly dangerous. And then you had to fight the Lord of Storms on my behalf. So I think going to pick some flowers, 1,000 gold pieces worth of flowers, is something much more my speed.
Yeah. You know I'd do it again, right?
Yes, and that does not make me feel any better. It
I
does, but you are frankly fucked up, my dear.
Well, I mean, you decided to marry me.
And I don't regret that for a single day.
Look, I honestly, it's probably one of the coolest things I've done. So, I mean, yes, I would do it again for you, but I don't want you to feel like bad about it at all, because it was honestly an amazing experience.
And he sort of puffs up his chest a little bit, and you can tell that like he is like the smallest well of courage. And he says, "As your husband, you do not get to tell me how I feel about things." And I'm putting my foot down on that one.
Gwen goes, "Oh yeah," and she grabs him by like his pant hips and pulls him in, and like tips his chin up a little bit.
I am feeling scared, but in a horny way.
Well, do you have to leave right now?
I have 5 days to complete this task.
Well, Todd said he was really fast.
Well, wait, Todd said I was really fast, or I said
No,
Todd was
no,
really fast?
You said Todd was really fast. Todd said he was really fast.
Look, Todd, I have an idea, and I need you to lay in a field with some foliage around it for... I'll be back really quick. Not too quick. A time frame. A time frame is when you shall see me next. Thank you.
Just grabs his collar, pulls him off.
Okay. So yeah, you pull Philip either into Gideon, or who knows if you have your own house in Verstane. Probably not. as you always stay in Gideon, but
Probably a
wherever
barn somewhere.
you are, there you are. You have found you have found your location. So Gwen and Philip are going to do that before Philip says goodbye. And it goes off in pursuit of the sending stones and also the herbs that he had promised that he could do in 5 days. Now, all that's left, Cori and Caelum. What would the two of you like to be doing for the rest of the day? Caelum, you wanted to do a short rest so that way you could get all of your spells and abilities back. At this point, it seems like the town itself, which as we have been made aware, as we know, a decent amount of the town are Abishai. And these Abishai are currently in the process of like, okay, like you shrink down, look like a little kid, I'll look like their parents, and like you go up to the red dragon and be like, oh wow, and like then we can show like the red dragon's not dangerous, and then we can kind of get the rest of the people to figure it out. So like after your short rest concludes, you can see that like people are like, this giant, like it's like a T-Rex showed up in Manhattan. This is a We're Back reference. If a T-Rex showed up in Manhattan, showed that it was like, I'm friendly to kids, that like obviously Rasa is just like letting like young adults and children play on her. She's like taking people for rides. She's like she's being a personable, friendly dragon to the people of Verstane, and the Abishai are all like kind of like thieves canting each other like, fucking nice. Nice.
If that's the case and Caelum is known in the town, he will like on one of Ross's downtimes approach her, just like lean against her and just sink down to the ground with a book.
And Rasa will do the sort of like cat-like curl. And you can tell that like she is breathing a little harder. Because it seems like, again, she's just been like flying. And she makes a comment about how flying through these worlds is always very interesting because the air quality differs from place to place.
Oh.
Large lungs.
I think you would enjoy the Feywild. It smells very nice.
We are not allowed in the Feywild. What is the Feywild like?
Oh. Is that because of Scorch Pain?
You don't know?
I don't know.
You could ask why you aren't allowed in the
What?
Feywild.
If it's not too much of a personal a question, why are you not allowed in the Feywild?
Well, if you were not born into the Feywild as a dragon typically is not, the Feywild has a way of attaching itself to our connection to raw elemental magics. So if we aren't from there initially, the longer that we spend in the Feywild, the more
it changes you.
Yes. Thankfully, Tiamat has worked out a deal of sorts with Asmodeus that, well, generally, dragons are not affected by the influence of the Hells, although there have been some instances where they have been. But I am going to assume that is because those dragons are weak, or they intended to gain assistance with some sort of infernal contract, which, no thank you.
Just a chuckle from Caelum, and he begins to describe the Isle of Spring, where he would have primarily stayed. Well, there are these budding flowers. It's always blooming there on the Isle of Spring. Have you ever smelled cherry blossoms?
If I have, I do not know what they look like.
He'll motion down for her nose and then just do a prestidigitation to scent cherry blossoms.
If you have ever seen a red dragon sneeze, you have now. As it seems like this pollen effect just and like a little bit of flame shoots out, and you can see like hits a tree, the tree just like immediate gone. Like it's not like a quick burn, like this is like an immediate flash fire and then down to the base. And she sort of like brings a claw up to her nostrils and just, oh, sorry.
No, that was great. And he'll also begin to like minor illusion like the little things that he's describing.
Rasa
So there is like
is in love with all of this. Do you bring up Scorchbane?
that is something I would have to talk to Arjhan about.
Okay.
I feel like that's more in their wheelhouse than Caelum's.
Yeah.
Yep. Once Arjhan was like after like 15 minutes in the office, he'll come back. But
Arjhan gets back to and the way she chuckles, kind of. Oh, hi, Arjhan.
Hi.
Caelum had started talking about Diana instead of the
and you can see
Feywild.
that Ross's tail is just sort of swishing, and like kids are like still like wee, like sliding down her back tail. Like she is now a jungle gym. Like while she's just like sitting there talking to you, and she does not seem like any which way offended or like, oh, like these kids. Like she knows that these are the people of the town. This is Arjhan's town. So Arjhan, as well, before you make it to Rasa and Caelum, because there had been eyes between you and Cori. Cori, did you and Arjhan want to have a scene to discuss anything about Ren before you meet up with Rasa and the rest of the team? Or Cori, was there anything that you wanted to do specifically in the interim downtime?
I don't have anything specific.
Okay.
I'm cool with the scene if you are. Cool, yeah.
yeah, I mean, whenever Arjhan's leaving the office, if he passes by Cori.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could even be like, Arjhan, you're just wrapping up with your paperwork, and Cori, you've sort of been like on like the outside of the office, like waiting for him to sound like he's done because you didn't want to interrupt him, but like you didn't, like you've also been mulling over like, how do I say that the person who manages your town has made clones of himself and murdered one in front of me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll say that like Arjhan, as you're wrapping up, Cori comes in, so that way it's just the two of you in this office space, and you don't have to worry about anybody else like passing by.
Yeah, Arjhan is like just starting to get up as you walk in.
Oh, Arjhan, do you mind if I speak with you privately for a moment?
Is here good, or like do we need to do like extra dimensional?
Oh,
space?
no, this should be fine. And she just shuts the door behind her. I had a conversation with Ren earlier today. And I should begin by saying that what he has told me is for the most part confidential. And let me follow up by saying that if he were a danger to anyone other than himself, I would not be having this conversation at this moment. I think there would be more drastic measures in place. But I feel it's my responsibility to tell you. This is all very hard. I saw him. Is it really murder if it's one of your clones?
What?
I mean, like, out of character, Arjhan is Arjhan is aware that Ren like splits himself into multiple people, right? Like, is this common knowledge in our group?
Arjhan has seen.
I've seen two of him merge, and that they were merged into a dragon.
Right. You are aware that Ren can split himself into multiples, yes?
Yeah.
Well, one was sort of underbaked, and he was showing me how that's possible for him, and he dispatched of it.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that you noticed that I was disturbed, and I didn't want you to think I was hiding anything from you. Which technically I am, but I'm telling you.
That Arjhan is like trying to go through the mechanics of that in his head because his existence proves that dragons are capable of using the clone spell, even though he's done research into this before way earlier in the campaign, where it should only be humanoids. Okay. Well, okay, he was working with totally around lot, I guess. Yeah. Okay, and he's just doing that? Okay.
That's really all I'm allowed to tell you.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Neither do I. Honestly, I have witnessed a lot of troubling things. The bit with Arillo, I'm still trying to wrap my head around. But I wanted to assure you that I'm not keeping anything from you.
Okay. Can I ask why he was showing you how he splits himself?
He did, and I'm not allowed to disclose that.
But can I ask why he did?
Why he doesn't want anyone else to know? Or
No.
why he showed it to me?
Why he showed it to you?
Because to some degree I already knew. Corlon shenanigans. Or Caelum shenanigans. Thinks about it for a bit. Sort of like communes with Ryth for a moment. It's Caelum, right?
Yes.
Yes, Ryth could see something that I couldn't before.
Okay. I don't understand. But okay.
Thank you for trusting me on this. And if you have any trouble with him, let me know.
All right.
Anyway, is there anything I can help you with? I know that we have a lot to cover in the week leading up to.
Yes. I could use some advice, but I don't want us to have this conversation while Rasa is still here.
Oh. Is this a conversation for the conference room, or do you want to wait until later?
Just later.
All right. Oh, tangential. Do you think I could have a moment alone with Tiamat? Just for a bit?
It just kind of send Mule out for something, but I mean, I could.
It doesn't have to
We
be
can
immediate.
ask, yeah.
I'm just looking for some advice, God to Godling.
Yeah, I'm sure we could swing by. I mean, we are about to spend a lot of time in Avernus.
Well, excellent. Anything else I can help you with?
No. No. I let me organize my thoughts. But no, I don't think so right now.
All right. Well, you know where to find me. Or how to find me.
And yeah, he'll get up and rejoin Rasa.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Until Cori's needed, she can occasionally be found just riding Todd around.
Todd and oh yeah, because Todd and Philip, or because Philip's currently occupied.
Yep.
Yep. And I think it's just one of those like, how do you manifest your abilities? Like, no one's told me how to do this, and you already exhibit it. And Todd's just like, you must focus yourself like you are the eye of the storm. And like, it's just like giving these very like cryptic yet mildly insightful tips about deities.
You must feel the storm moving through you.
Yeah, shit like that. And it's just like, yes, of course. That's what I must do. Like, taking advice from the goat here.
Mileage may vary.
Okay, so then Arjhan, you end up meeting up with Rasa and Caelum. Caelum, you were in the middle of describing Diantha. And it seems like Rasa is just like, yeah, tell me about her. Tell me about all of this. Like she is right, like just ready to sip the tea. She's ready for that hot goss.
And it really comes down to it. Oh, I didn't really mean to get existential here, but am I worthy of love?
And Rasa will give you a slight nuzz and says, everyone is deserving of love. And just as everyone is capable of love. You might find love in a different way than others are used to. But in the end, if it's something that you care about, I think that, that counts towards something. She loves you, right?
I would hope so.
Well, then hold on to that. And when you think to yourself, if you're capable of love, just remember that there is a lady with what sounds like a firearm and a cool belt that has buddied up with a spirit of the Feywild who has decided that she likes you. And based off of what you've told me, it doesn't sound like you have a choice in this matter, but in a good way.
And if I ever cross her, I need to remind myself that she is a badass lady with a gun who has teamed up with a spirit from the Feywild.
Just remember, cross is the first part of crosshairs.
Oh, you are very insightful, Rasa.
Rasa nods and sort of like, thank you. I'm old.
Caelum's gonna stand as Arjhan approaches and like just give a wave.
And then Rasa will see you, and you can see that like it's gotten to the point where like a lot of the like spectacle around Rasa has sort of like died down. Like people are still just like, wow, but like there aren't like active kids playing on her at this point. It seems like a lot of that died down.
So, anything else we want to do?
Well, if it's not a pressing issue, I think I can make an army.
Rasa like blinks and looks at you.
I just need a bunch of objects that are around large size.
I have objects around large size.
That you're willing to lose.
I have attained something greater than my own personal treasure hoard. I have gained part of the hoard of the Dragon Queen. My treasure was going to go there one way or the other. As a dignitary, as a militant official, I am willing to donate these to the cause.
Caelum, can't you fabricate objects?
I could.
Can
I could
you
also
make golden things?
That.
I think you would need the gold in order to actually make that, but
Yeah.
if we had like a large amount of stone.
Oh, I could just cut out the middleman with fabricate and use the stone. I was thinking about using true polymorph over the next couple of days to make a couple of. Let's see. Looks through his list of monsters. I mean, what would be funnier? 7 beholders all looking at Orcus? Or should I just go for the steel predators?
I am
Gwen comes in
unfamiliar.
adjusting her pants. What are we talking about?
Oh, I can make some beholders that might suppress the magic Orcus has.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's be careful about that because they also might.
Negate our magic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we
well,
kind
yeah,
of
will
need
those
that.
affect... Will those affect my my guys?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, don't do that.
I think they might just get insta-jibbed if they go inside the radius of the beholder eyes.
Ah, yeah, that's out.
I can make a bunch of Remoraz.
What's that?
A
Ooh,
giant...
delicious. Can you make
It's a
one for
giant
me?
ice serpent that will emit an extreme amount of heat, and they are both immune to fire and cold.
When have you met that? Did we fight one of these?
At the Holiday Nexus, I did. Ripped its guts open with a sentient sword that infested a slime.
Okay.
Dagger. It was a dagger.
Pod
Cool.
meanders by and drops off Cori. All right, go to him.
And
What are we
Todd-
talking about?
Todd like gives you one last look, Cori, and there's just like that like Big Lebowski dude nod of just like, or I guess it's Sam Elliott in the Big Lebowski of just like, like there's like an understanding, and then off to find Philip.
Take care of my boy.
I think we're talking about Caelum fabricating an army of
Fabricating.
Rimaz.
Small one. Contingent.
What? Oh, to make him cold? Aren't they
To
hot?
Fight Orcus.
Oh, to fight him. Oh, okay. I
And
see.
one is a snack.
And one is a snack.
Rasa nods.
Well, wouldn't Orcus be resistant to flame? A Remoraz has a furnace within. Though they do live on the tundra.
That's only because their body temperature is so high that they can. Anywho,
What can hurt him the most? What is he weak to?
And what are the limitations on your fabrication?
It's true polymorph.
Also, can you make me fire resistant?
Sure, if you want to turn it into an Afridi.
No, me fire resistant.
That we'd have to talk to Kendak to Kendak. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. We have to talk to Kendak about making some armor.
What about a ring? What about something I don't have to attune to?
I can make a potion, but I would need a little bit. Or
You have 5 days. You also got a potion maker on the
I've
island.
got a potion. I may have a potion maker here. If it's a newer
sorry.
startup, then they probably are only doing
Just like
things that are
healing
green in D&D
potions.
Beyond,
Yeah.
which would be a potion of resistance.
Do I still have my Shadowfell brand tattoo?
Yes, you do.
I do until I kill enough people, right?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, and you have not summoned that spirit to fight.
Yeah,
He has to do the killing.
that's right. Maybe he can come out this fight. I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
What about a Yeti?
Why fire resistance though?
Isn't he fire based? Isn't he gonna do a lot of fire stuff?
No,
I'm gonna be right up front. Oh.
No, he does necrotic stuff, and I have a potion of necrotic resistance.
Gwen, you have
I think I
necrotic
something for
armor.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing it.
Yeah, but you have it. It was a wedding gift.
I know. Okay. I didn't know that. I thought demon, fire.
He's also the Prince of Undeath, so.
Have you ever seen
Oh,
a
I-
Yeti before,
No.
Caelum?
Oh,
No?
no, I'd have to go looking in the woods, but all the photographs are really blurry.
What's a photograph?
That's
The
the thing that
crystal
Caelum
balls.
does with like
Yeah,
three
it's the little
different
things.
spells.
I thought those are called.
No, the
Crystographs.
gemmaries are the.
5 years, y'all.
It's been a long day.
They are the same. Was
Those
What
are
about
his
those-
instant pictograms?
What about those crows that we fought in the
Deep crows.
Yes, those. Did Caelum see one of those? I don't remember if Caelum was there or not.
I don't think it
No,
was.
that was Similac Caelum.
No.
Uh,
However, if you did want to pursue the Deep Crow route, the point of that goal, or the point of that mission, was to bring a Deep Crow egg back to one of Oddstone Mantle's
Stonemantle's.
relatives. So if you wanted to see a Deep Crow, chances are you would have at least a fledgling Deep Crow around. Or you could go back to the place where the Deep Crows were, because
And fight the dad?
and I don't believe that you all solved wrapped up in a bow. We killed off the Deep Crows that were
No,
down there.
we killed off the mom, and the dad
Yeah.
came back and was like, I remember.
Mm-hmm. So there is that. If you did want to pursue that,
Can
for
I just
Deep
read a
Crows,
book?
you could. However, think about with Deep Crows, your entire party mounted on on the back of Deep Crows.
Okay, but if you think about it, if I find a holy book on plantars,
There's
I could true
lot of things to
polymorph a
find.
bunch of planetars.
A lot of things to find, but I think while the group is kind of figuring out what could you do to true polymorph these rocks into that will truly allow us to fight Orcus, or at least have enough of a force that Orcus feels maybe fighting isn't the best option.
We
that
get
they
a bunch
have.
of rocks together, I can make a second Orcus.
Oh my God, I think that is
Out of
where we're going to
character.
go to our break.
Well, no, they'll
Oh.
fight each other because they will each want to be alone
They'll just start banging in front of you. That's what's gonna happen.
in front of my OSHA.
Yep, in front of everybody. That's what's going to happen if you summon another Orcus. I'm letting you know that right now. It's going to end a lot uglier than you think it will. But we are going to be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see all you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon! And we're back! Hello! Yes?
Sorry, I've been browsing for dad jokes, and this one really tickles me.
Okay.
And it's also topical because we're talking about food. If Whole Foods sells sliced apples, is it false advertising?
That's a great question.
Does it tickle you the way it tickles me?
Yes. I'm going to be thinking about that for fucking days.
Fucking translation.
It just makes me want to discuss the semantics of it. I'm all like, if they slice the whole apple and then give it to you, is it still considered a whole apple?
Look, can anyone sell a whole food in this economy? I don't think so.
There's a whole building for that.
Well, I've got one more as a palate cleanser.
Okay.
I got fired from my taxi job the other day. Turns out customers don't appreciate it when you go the extra mile.
Sometimes I do.
I've never been to Uba Java.
Incredible. But speaking of things that are incredible, these players. Last we left off, it was Rasa and the Four Keeps deciding whether or not Caelum should create a army of some sort, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you end up spending that many days doing this, but at the same time, maybe not, over the next period of time. What is the group's decision on the matter?
I don't really care what Caelum does with his time.
Are you concerned at all with the fact that you're creating life that you may not have dominion over?
Will you?
Well, after a point, they're no longer under my command, but they are friendly to me.
Wait, are they real?
Yes.
For how long?
Ever. Until they pass of natural means. Or an unnatural.
Is that part of the spell?
Yes.
Hold. Caelum is creating life to die.
I don't like the ethics of that.
That does seem unethical.
I thought the things you summon were like the things that I summoned, either already dead or fake.
That's just the thing, isn't it? Because you're kind of just combining two magics that were never intended to interact.
Is Mistra gonna be mad at us again?
Mistra's never been mad at us. Me, but not us.
Well, maybe we're not the authority to discuss on this. That being the case, Mistra might be the person to talk about this.
I'm leaving this vote up to the group. If it's a no, I won't do it.
I don't want to put more variables into this entire setup.
If you turned them into people, wouldn't it be people that you knew? Would you be making a fake copy of that person?
Oh no, I can't do that yet.
Yeah?
Cori's drinking and just like spits into her cup.
Creating life just to die and forming an army to fight Orcus who might die anyway?
Well, do you have to create life for this? Or could you just take some volunteers from the recruits that we will already have?
Yeah, I could do that.
And save you a spell slot.
I thought you meant true polymorph them into the things we need.
Oh
That's
my
what I meant.
god!
That's what I meant.
You would save on the stonework.
True. I wonder what I could true polymorph with a mountain.
Why cast two spells when one will do?
So,
Because
is
it's
Caelum
funnier.
going to go talk to Mistra about the ethics of life?
He's decided against that, I think.
Okay, so decided against that.
But
Got
it is on the docket on the next meeting.
Okay.
Is it?
Like, am I a bad person for thinking about this?
Okay, because there are some things that we should try and cover for tonight's session. So, first things first, Caelum, it is. Are you ready to take Arjhan and Rasa, or just Rasa even, back to the Astral Sea?
Yep.
Okay. So is it just Rasa that's going? Is it Rasa and Arjhan?
I'll come along for the ride, but where if Caelum's bamfing back to the material plane, then we'll go.
Okay.
Like, I'll come back with him.
Sounds good. Gwen.
Can we put Gideon at where the new tribe is? Just how long does that take?
Doesn't take that long.
We should just be able to do that, and then I also need to move one space to the caldera where we're going to be fighting.
Encountering.
Okay.
Where we're setting up.
I would also like to talk to my tribe. I got a few things, setting up a village.
Yeah, Arjhan will go in and make the changes.
Okay, sounds good. So Are you sending Rasa, Caelum, are you just sending Rasa back? Are you going with her? Arjhan said he was coming along for the ride, so I'm assuming that you're going to be going with. Do you have enough spells to be able to go there and back again?
Yep, but I'll be blowing through the 7th level spell I just got.
That's
and
fine.
my 9th, so
That's
I won't
fine.
be...
As long as you got the 2, you're good. I'm going to let you know that right now. You're fine.
Do some weird shit.
Okay, so Gwen, you wanted do you want to immediately go to the tribe? Is that a thing that you would like to do this evening or just at some point throughout the week?
At some point.
Okay.
It's not a
Sounds
immediate necessity.
good. So let's actually get to that one first, because if you're going to be joining the rest of the party, going through the hells and going to Phlegethos, it makes more sense to get this covered. So that way it's not like, oh yeah, like, do you guys remember in between both of those where I like hung out with my tribe for a hot second? And then we were back like in the hells. Like, it makes more sense trip-wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, you are able to transport Gideon, making the adjusted travel dialies changes and everything like that to get to the location of what is currently known as Spiral Hill. As again, there is that giant long fort that is on top of the spiraling hill. And when you say, when you've said previously, oh, we're building a village, what is going on here from what you are able to gather and from your knowledge of the inner workings of cities? They are scaling it to already be a capital city, like in terms of size. Like, there are enough Goliaths here that they know that like they just had a bunch of kids. As per the chief, like, you basically doubled the size of future Goliaths
You're
in
welcome.
a single party. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, right.
Thankfully, this again, the people are kind of building for that, but you realize that it was going, and now it seems to have hit like a stabilization period. Like, they're the buildings, and they are all of the traditional Goliath structure, albeit a little bit more firm. You know, not necessarily as much in terms of like pelts. For buildings, they're using like logs and mud and clay, other things that they're kind of finding to build these more large-scale buildings.
Okay. I'm going to go in and find Chua first, I think.
Okay. And one of the first things that Chua asks, other than saying, you look like shit, which... you look like shit, endearment.
Yeah.
She says, were you able to find Philip?
I was. It was a lot. We found out he had been talking to a god that is real bad news. And actually went to talk to Talos. Talos got, I had to fight him. It's fine. I didn't go down at all. It was great. He gave me this scar.
Yeah, and Gwen, now that it's kind of like, it's been bandaged for a while, but, you know, magic, potions, it's, if anything, it's more of a wonder that it's scarred at all. But when you look at the scar pattern, because it was that big gash from your collarbone down to your navel, on the outskirts where you know there is normally for scarring that kind of like stress tissue, it looks like it's healing in like this darkened pattern of what looks like a like there are electrical little bitties coming off of the side. Like, it looks like an active lightning slash is just apparent on your chest.
It's a Lichtenberg pattern.
Exactly. But like in a perfect diagonal line.
Yeah, Gwen just kind of like displays it.
Chua is like, this is the greatest tribe ever. The Tread Thunder clan, we will be remembered through history.
Yeah. I was also thinking about the name of this village.
Well, that is a position for the chieftain to make. Would you like for me to call the council? The council?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to get everybody together.
Okay.
I think I've got something pretty good.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. She it takes a couple hours, but she manages to wrangle everybody. And Gwen, you are in your room where like you have like the comically large Goliath throne, and then you have a smaller, more like feasible sitting area
Just
for
sitting
you.
on top of
It's
the
raised as well. Like it has, so that way you're eye level, and like the table is also raised up so that way you can be like at a one-on-one with the rest of these Goliaths. And Chua has informed them that you have a name, so that way it is no longer just Spiral Hill. What is the name?
It is, I will pass it along. It is, Uvar Skold.
Okay, can you spell that for me?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will send it to everyone. It is UVAR SKOLD, which means Storm Shield in Giant.
I dig it. That's fucking rad.
Thanks.
Disappointed there's no apostrophe though.
Where's the
There's not much.
Where's the hidden D? That's what I want to know. Silent TH. Excellent. Incredible. Yeah, and the rest of the Goliaths are like especially now that you're just like, hey, Torizo, I fought God and won. Like he's like everyone is like, this is the greatest tribe ever. Our god, our chieftain picks fights with the gods and doesn't die.
Respectfully.
Oh, respectfully. And like they are just like here for it. It seems like this interaction with Talos, like you have burgeoned much in terms of goodwill here in Uvar Skold.
Yeah. Gwen will also say, as far as buildings, are we making a gladiatorial pit for sparring?
And they sort of like think about it. They're like, we could. They have heard and been around long enough to know that in Surt's Hellier they do hold their annual tournament. Why not bring the fights to the Goliaths? You know, like they think that that's a great way to also like praise Talos.
I like that. Make sure we have space for the children to train up, and I think being a child of being the runt of this tribe and coming from a very oppressive background to field my journey here, I think making sure that our children have access to all of the options and get to choose for themselves what they want to do. Obviously, we should guide them to maybe help with the things that they're really good at and kind of show them that. But I think everyone should have a chance to do something that they want to do, you know?
So say you wanted to be a weaver instead of a herder.
Right.
You would just do that?
Well, you could try it. I think that everyone should be given a chance.
And they sort of nod. And it is Chua who suggests, in many her long years, she has heard about how, places have this thing called school. And she recommends that for the inhabitants of Uvar Skold, that you can just go there. You can go there and you can take these structured courses from a variety of instructors. And then that way, you know, like you're not directly involving yourself in the workforce because, like, again, being a herder can be very dangerous with the Auroch.
Exactly.
Or being a metalsmith, like you don't want somebody who's untrained, who, like, I got all my stuff. Like, you don't want to get certifications involved. No, we don't want to introduce paperwork. No, the Goliaths do not want paperwork. But what they want is a general sense of accountability, and they feel like this school might be a good option.
Yes, and we could still have people come in and give presentations on their, you know, just talk to the kids about like what they do and what it actually entails. Give them a realistic sort of
one
career.
with the bonus stage. Yes, exactly.
So giving them a realistic depiction of what the job actually is. I mean, we don't want to scare them, but like, I don't give a shit. You can scare them. But if you want to,
scare the children.
We should give them realistic expectations of what the job is going to be like, so they're not like, oh, this is going to be great, and they get in there and they're like, this is terrible. You know, we don't want to trick them.
We will not introduce arbitrary numbers or letters to rank the children. They will know when they are ready. No.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we want our children informed, intelligent, strong, and strong-willed.
Okay. Yeah, everyone is on board with this. Gwen, I will have you know that in this moment, you have just created the first trade school. And with trade schools and a large enough population, there will be a guild presence that eventually begins to spur from all of the different trades in this trade school.
But like Goliath guilds.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's more chaos than capitalism? Let's be real here. Like, that's how you really get Talos's goat.
See, here's the thing. I don't think it'll be capitalism. I think it'll be more along the lines of like, if you fuck over the guild, you get your hand broken.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck you up. Like, there's no question about that.
No,
that's capitalism.
That's capitalism, baby.
Well, they'll do that, and then they'll still charge me an additional $300 for a quote-unquote diagnostic.
No, I think it's gonna be more of trading, and still for the tribe. But where the fuck did my phone go?
Excellent. I'm here for it. Okay, so Gwen, you have just established what will become the Storm Shield, like a Storm Shield trade school. As that's probably what the majority of folk will end up calling it because they don't speak giant. So it'll like default to common for those from out of towners. You know? Like you're not really from this place. RJ.
No, I was gonna be so stupid.
Okay. Do you want us to move on then?
I'm gonna establish a university in Vascor, and from the ashes, like a phoenix, we shall rise.
You will not make Phoenix University.
No, we can't do that, guys.
Can't do that. That's one sponsor I don't want.
No, thanks.
Yeah, pass. Now, the rest of the trip has involved wanting to go to the Hells for a trip to a particular laboratory. Arjhan, I assume that what Newell would have expressed is that the plan is in action for later in the week. So make good preparations. He has, or they have communicated with the intended party. And have expressed that they also have suggestions for the upcoming battle, having secured backup kind of thing.
What?
Exciting! They're excited.
What's the cost?
The cost. We can talk about the cost in a hot minute.
Cool.
Okay. So, first things first, Newell will escort the main group into the Hells, or you could use Gideon to appear at the Caldera and then traverse from there.
That's a long way.
That is a very long way, and it's easier to just go to Tiamat and say, Tiamat, can you take me to level 4? Than it is to try and get to Phlegethos through a variety of other means. That being said, Cori, you wanted to have a conversation with Tiamat.
Yes.
Okay. So, Tiamat will basically, like, Newell, I assume, would like take you all there. And then Cori's sort of just like, hey, you, like, can you set this up for me? And Newell would go and sort of like on your behalf request an audience. The audience is accepted if you would like to join. So you do have option for a one-on-one with Tiamat. Great day.
Awesome. Excellent. When Cori goes into the Hells, they usually try to be in summer form. And Cori will present masculine today.
Okay. And you see that it is, you've seen Tiamat Prime enough that she feels comfortable presenting this way in front of you. And she is sort of like leaning on this balcony that has all of Avernus behind her. And she puts a hand up to her face and says, "And to what do I owe the pleasure of the mantle bearer's request?"
I was hoping that I could get some advice from you, if you wouldn't mind.
It depends on the subject, but I was not expecting this. I will be quite...
Well, rather I could just ask you a few questions.
Only if on the condition that I am allowed to ask you the same.
Happy
Maybe
to
not
trade
the same
one for one.
questions, but question for question.
Cori nods. Sort of leans casually a little bit. So, Prime? Just sort of like gesturing to all of her.
Nods. Unless you'd
Sec-
prefer to speak to one over the other of us.
It's probably best if I speak to all. What made you decide to, well, be more than one?
A combination of wanting to be in different places at a different time, as well as having been born conjoined to my sister selves. We were 5 and 1 from the beginning. Sometimes we enjoy a little bit of separation. Most of the time. But we find it easier to communicate our thoughts succinctly in this form.
Cori nods and just sits there looking at her silently, waiting
And
for a question.
she says, "Please continue. I don't want to detract from yours."
Of course, thank you. So that sort of answers my next question as to how you did it.
And she takes a breath and she says, "I am in an understanding with myself that regardless of what I am and who I am still myself. I can be distant from myself thousands of miles away, but my heart beats as one within my chest. To do this, I needed to look at all that I am, all that I was, and all that I ever could be. As I mentioned, I was created with 5 heads, and what I have done had no precedent. I had to learn how to effectively isolate parts of myself, to be able to project them. And in doing so, I do lose the abilities of them, though they are always present to return.
Are they... How separate exactly are they? Can one do things without the knowledge of the others?
While this is something that is possible, when you rejoin, the memories are shared. The experience is shared. And as I stated, I am at an understanding with myself. For example, if I were to, as one of myselves, hire an assassin to kill the other 4, I would be 4 times weaker. It would make no sense. It would have no understanding. If I were to make a plan that would go against my followers, there would be no sense in that.
Pause. Is this... Sort of pauses, scratches at his beard. Is this something that can be taught?
And she nods and says, if you wish to learn, I can teach you. But on the day you demonstrate your power before my brother, let him know who helped you in your hour of need. Remind him that while he perches high on Mount Celestia's radiant throne, growing fat on the praise of the masses, that there are those who have not forgotten when the gods were young and in need of a guiding hand. Is that something that you think that you can do?
You seem to expect me to meet Bahamut one day?
You are a deity, are you not?
Yes, but I wasn't under the assumption that we all knew each other.
It's more of a potluck style situation. Get together, share stories. Some of us, there are those we don't invite. Sadly,
I think
I am one of those that they do not often invite. However, Mantlebearer typically is ranked pretty high on the number of choices.
I think this is a message I can pass along.
Excellent. Now, I understand that you are busy. In the next period of time that you have to spare, reach out to me, and I will show you the way.
Ironically, my services for the most part aren't needed.
Tiamat nods and says, as she knows that you are going to be going, like you're in the middle of going to somewhere. She says, just if you want to hang back on your way out, she is more than willing to teach you. However, you have asked her a set of questions. She has questions to respond with.
I would love to hear them.
And Tiamat asks, do you believe that people are capable of change? Do you believe that gods are capable of change?
People, yes. Gods, perhaps. I think that it's harder for them, though. They're kind of stuck into their portfolios. And to some degree, once you've made it, people stop expecting you to change. So you have no reason to.
Tiamat nods and says, when I was a young deity, I was filled with a rage, an anger at what my sibling had done. The reason why I'm here. And when you have so many voices giving you praise for doing things you know are actively dangerous, aren't good things, you start to like that kind of music. If you know what I mean.
I think I do.
And it wasn't until I met Arjhan that I met you all that I heard a different tune for the first time in ages. A genuine tune, not one just repeated through fear. I don't know if I will ever be considered good. Rightfully, I don't think that my tastes line up with what can be considered positive. However, I am doing my best to make myself as much as a friend would be to Arjhan and all of you.
Well, we can never change what we've done, but we can always choose what we will do going forward.
Then I have one last question for you. What can I do to be... This is difficult. Arjhan said that a friend does not act in accordance with a directive of trying to make people like you, or to use forgiveness as a ploy. I am unlearning habits. My final question to you: what is something nice I could do for Arjhan?
It's a tricky one.
You don't have to answer right now. You're going to be here all week.
There's any number of nice things that you could do for Arjhan. But I'm afraid I have one more question for you. To what end?
She straightens up a little bit and says, Have you ever met someone who, through every horrible thing that you've done, made you feel nice? The way that Arjhan has come to speak to me, has always spoken to me with his reverence. The way that we are able to speak to each other now, this feels pleasant. Much as a cool breeze is pleasant. And I enjoy that feeling. So in a way, I would describe this as selfish. But I enjoy the nature of our visits. And I would like for them to keep happening. As I have stated, I consider Arjhan a friend.
I suppose the best thing I can do is... Sometimes... a friendship like that can be like an easily startled bird. The more doggedly and enthusiastically you pursue it, the more difficult it is to grasp.
She nods.
I suppose, in short, loosen up a little. I think that there are parts of Arjhan's life that you don't have the correct perspective to be able to understand.
She nods.
How long have you been here? How long has it been since you left this palace?
Elements and aspects of me are capable of leaving the palace. But I, as a whole, am contractually bound. This is my stretch of land. This is my hill, as it were.
Unfortunate, that makes everything very hard.
And I will admit, I think at this point in time, even if your group defeats Caius and spoke to Asmodeus on my behalf, do you realize the number of cultists and ne'er-do-wells who have made their entire life's work to freeing me so that I may destroy the material plane?
Is
It's a
that
bad
not
rap.
your... Is that not your intention?
Hasn't been for a while, no. To rule over it, yes, but even that's starting to sound a bit dull.
It might be worth sending out a memo.
Status update, I'm good now. I think it'll take time.
I think that's good. Lean into that more casual side of you.
I'll do my best, it's weird.
And if I think of anything that Arjhan might like, I'll be sure to let you know.
And Tiamat will nod and says, see you soon. As you will be going to hang out with Tiamat for a week. Just a couple of friends.
Oh my god. We're gonna have like a buddy comedy like situation.
Oh my
Like,
god.
Tiamat teaches me how to be a god, and I teach Tiamat how to bro out.
Yes. This is just the other guys with Mark Wahlberg.
Gods just want to have fun.
But how can you two afford the Manhattan apartment if one of you is a chef and the other's a waitress?
No one told me like this gonna be this way. And then like all of the Tiamats, like
They just snap their heads and it makes the clapping noise.
God bless, this is incredible.
Smile, sweet sister, sadistic Cori.
God damn it. Okay, so that being said, Cori rejoins the group. Phlegethos?
Guys doing tight.
Like it go.
So, sorry, my throat got like super dry all of a sudden. I think it's allergies and it fucking sucks, but
It's being a dragon.
it is being a dragon.
It is, in fact, being a dragon. And playing opposite a dragon was like, oh man, like I gotta really lean into the vocal fricative for some reason. How do you do it, Connor?
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always tired. So, you make your way to Stone Mantle R&D, and when you arrive, you can see that they are working on what looks like a massive metallic dragon, as that is one of the projects that they have been working on since like level 14, Stone Mantle R&D, but it's looking like it's almost done at this point. There's still a few things that kind of need to be done, but like as far as like eventually needing a test drive, probably, but it looks like it's coming together. It's coming together really nice. It's a giant metallic black dragon, if I recall correctly. Looks great. And when you arrive, Bridget will actually be like the first one that you see, and just, oh, howdy, y'all, as they come on over and just, oh, it has been a hot minute since I was able to see all you. How y'all doing?
Hi, Pink Dad. Oh, wait. Hi, other one.
This is Bridget.
This is a white Abishai, like a dragon person looking at you.
Hi, Bridget.
I see the world in crotches. It's hard to look up sometimes.
One of them wears pants.
Two of them wears pants.
Oh, right. Two of them wear pants.
We are fantastic. We're just passing through. Is Catastrophe or Cori Sad's name?
Yugalon
around.
Oh yeah, no, they're over here. And like Bridget will like be walking you over and be telling you about how they figured out how to make the cabin airlock, so that way in case you need to go underwater or anything like that, that you have like an airtight seal. It's just sort of like explaining the machine that you already know about. You gave the clear on it forever.
Yeah, but what do you do about the freezing, the frosting problem when you hit
once
the
it reaches
upper
a
stratus?
specific level, automated heat metal spell is applied.
Oh, smart.
Coats
But
the
doesn't that,
outside of it and the inside, so it gets a little toasty to combat how cold it's going to be.
wouldn't that warp the metal? Or sorry, they're just
Yeah. Well, it's actually a series of walls.
Were you able to make use of any of the salvage from the Spelljammer?
And she says that. Now I know that Yuglon wanted it to be a surprise, but we were able to take the engine area from that and we've placed it inside of the vehicle. So rather than needing like everybody at different stations, I mean, you still could because like weapons and stuff. If you just wanted to be able to focus on flying the machine, there's a helmet that you can wear. And you
Just
can just
one
control.
person or two?
Just one. You only need one person. You can have multiple people, but like one of you gets the cool hat. That's how you know it's the captain. It doesn't have any like actual mechanical benefit to wear the hat. I just think it looked nice. Like lets you know like there was an old story about a man with a conch or a bunch of boys with a conch. Like the hat lets you know who's in charge.
Rad.
Anywho's. I think I mean, if you want, we could connect it up to like a general comm system. So if you ever need to like yell at something outside of it, we can figure that out. But.
Yes, put speakers on the outside of it so I can go, hey, get off my lawn.
I will be sure to add that. And at that point, Bridget sort of like waves over, and you see that Pink Dad is currently sitting at like a table that's been lowered a little bit, and you can see that like Kat, who has a sizable tummy at this point, like she's like at the 5 mark at this point, I think. All things considered, I mean, I can go back and check, but like I'd like the idea of there being a plump little thingy. And he is like down speaking with her, and then they see the two of you and just oh, I'm so excited to see you. And like you can see that like Yulon is like just like shaking, and like he has like a little bit of stubble coming through now.
Fucking face step over to him, like pick him up and like just spin him around.
He's just giggling the whole time. Just, it's been so long. How are you? How is everything?
Oh my god, I heard! Congratulations!
Oh, yes. You've already met, Kat, Stone Mantle. And, well, you're going to have, a nibbling soon. We don't know what it's going to be, but honestly, that's none of my business.
I'd heard. I'm absolutely ecstatic. Catastrophe, welcome to the family.
And you see that Kat says, "No, welcome to mine."
Oh my god. You can't do this to us.
Can't I? Haven't we?
Gwen leaves over to Arjhan. Are we having dinner?
I don't think so. Unless Cori wants to, we would like to see if we can borrow a Hellfire weapon.
Also, what's a nibbling?
Well, it's not like a sister or a brother because we don't know exactly what it is, so it's a nib.
Oh!
The technical definition for a nibbling is a gender neutral for a nephew or niece.
Yes, indeed. A child begat from one's parentage. Like gestures at Pink Dad.
And
They
Pink
would be
Dad
the
just like,
half-sibling, yes.
well, whatever it is, we have settled on a name.
Oh.
Going to be a little wonder. And like rubs the tummy. And then
Gwen looks like she's waiting for the name still.
And then Kat just like rubs the tummy.
Caelum leans over to explain tiefling names to Gwen.
That's beautiful. Just like turns away. I need a minute. Like cries.
Oh yeah, he's really emotionally sick. Anyways, congratulations.
So you said you wanted the weapon?
Oh my god.
Yes, we could absolutely make use of a Hellfire weapon that we would need until 4 days from now. 5 days from now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to figure out how to get it on top of the, the machine that you had us working on, that we've been working on, and it's just like, it doesn't attach. We could attach some tank treads to the side, and then you could, like, burrow it out.
Why don't you just make the claws Hellfire blades?
And she goes to like
save on production cost.
She grabs a pad of paper and Yuglon whips out a pen. She takes it from him and immediately writes it down, and then like sets it to the side and just, "You're incredible. But
Caelum's gonna walk over to that note and just doodle a tail and then just holes in it that spike out Hellfire spikes.
Oh yeah, no, like Yuglon,
like a Stegosaurus.
It's the Thangerizer. I believe is its official scientific name, because Knights in the Courtyard. So yeah, they are more than happy to lend you this Hellfire weapon. They seem very very excited. Do you need it loose, just like the engine piece? Do you need it mounted to something?
We need it so that we can sit it in a place and fire it at a possible demon lord.
and like Yuglon looks horrified, Cat looks thrilled at the prospect of this, and
Mostly as a threat.
And before Yuglon can make any kind of like, no, wait, Cat's already like, you heard him, boys, and like yelling at the Abishai, because she's like second in command at her family's R&D facility. Bridget is actually the number one, but that's because, this is the one case where it wasn't nepotism. Surprise, working in R&D means you got to be worth your weight. So they are all about that. And with the correct time and everything, they agree that they can get the Hellfire weapon stationary there in like 2 days if you want, or in a 2-day turnaround period, or if you want it mobile for whatever reason, they could do it in 4.
Sure.
Okay.
2 days is fine.
They so all you have to do is just kind of like let them know where it goes, and then they'll take care of the rest from there. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I will get them precisely where we will be.
Okay. So.
Oh, Yuglon.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Hadorai sends his regards.
Oh, how's
Laurel
she
is growing up
doing?
nicely.
I was wondering how she was doing.
She's
I
about,
don't-
and then Caelum like raises a hand to his height.
And Yuglon's like his one good eye, just fascinating. That's. I feel like I'm a dad thrice over right now. I have
What?
Cori, a beautiful child. I have my soon-to-be little wonder. And Laurel. She's growing so fast. They're growing so fast.
It's truly incredible, actually. And Eladrin is usually pretty lucky to have even one child.
Just an aside to Cori. Did you tell your father about the Raven Queen? I think that's a discussion you might need to have with your parents.
Father, have I told you that I kind of split into 2?
Well, yes, that's how Laurel was.
3.
Yeah, a different time, in a different
Was-
way.
When all of your seasons were removed?
See, Laurel was my arm, you recall, and like
Caelum
literally,
just
like,
walks up behind
removes his
Yuglon with a
arm.
chair and then puts it behind them.
Corey's going
Excellent,
to
incredible.
explain a few things.
And you can see that Yuglon is just like shocked. He's like, and while he's just sitting there listening, completely shocked, Kat is using this to be like, and move. Like she's like directing folks. Like Yuglon dotes on her because again, like the Eladrin just like, oh my god, baby. Ah! Whereas like her, I mean, yeah, it's there. She has to pee a lot more, but like, hey, guess what? She can still do her fucking job. And so she is like feeling like, yes, finally he's not doting on me. I can be in charge for a hot second, not just be the pregnant lady. So she's really excited to be doing that. You explain the Raven Queen to your dad, and he doesn't know what to say at first. But as long as you're safe, as long as you're on good terms with your Raven Queen,
Very good terms.
have.
In fact, I think I could. Oh, I wonder if she would find this awkward. Oh, to hell with it. I
We
say
are.
in the hells, I'm gonna fucking cast for the very first time. Summon Celestial.
Okay.
Listen, you guys did this. This
Yeah.
was you.
Yeah.
As a reaction, I'm copying the spell.
Incredible.
You can't. This is a paladin spell. You can't do that.
No, I can copy any spell with a
can do that?
reaction.
Yeah.
Well, now.
Yeah,
thought
that's
it
how
was
he-
correct.
that's
That's
how
my
he wished
wizard
Farron.
capstone.
I see now. I'm gonna cast Summon Celestial.
Okay. Sounds good.
I had a whole fucking like by the power of Grayskull thing for this.
Oh, I'm not using it. I'm copying it. Like I can now cast the spell that I'm casting.
What's her fucking name? Cori
Nixai
puts
No.
a fist over his chest and says, "My sister and my shadow, the season of death, I call upon thee." And just like fucking like steps to the side, and like it's like there's two like superimposed images stepping like away from each other, and there is a shimmering dark shadow that just kind of peels off of Cori, and then like not fully there, kind of transparent, only a minuscule projection of the Raven Queen stands before them.
All right. Who do I have to cut? Oh, this doesn't seem like a combat thing at all.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I apologize that this has to be the first time that I do this, but
And she like points towards Yuglon and like as you're talking like rushes up and just both sides of the face and just like, like she like turns him and he's just like, okay, wow, you're very upfront and just sorry. It's my first time seeing you in person, yet I have known you all my life.
Sister, this is my father, Yuglon.
Bows. I don't know whether to call you father, uncle, or just Yuglon. Either way, it is a pleasure to meet you and know you. And Yuglon just... Now that I think about the family tree, and you just see that he's like trying to like make like what connection is this? Is there anything that you needed from me, sibling?
Oh, you know what? This would probably be a good time to tell you.
Tell me what.
Kind of motions for the party. We should probably tell her that we're going up against Orcus. She
Did
could.
we already do that?
Yeah, we've had
Okay.
this. Yeah, we've had this conversation, kind of.
We're going to be fighting Orcus in like 5 days, just to keep you updated.
Okay, so in 5 days,
You get to wet your blade.
that and you know, I did say that I would lend you all some boons for the upcoming fight, so I'm glad I have a time frame. Helpful.
Well, sister, I'm able to concentrate on this spell for an hour, I believe, and I don't believe you're able to consume anything in your current form, but if you'd like to catch up, then I think we're about to break for a meal.
I have the perfect spell for this.
Oh,
Let's go eat.
shrug.
We're gonna go eat.
Okay.
And that way we can fast track Yuglon and the Raven Queen meeting.
While they're eating, Caelum portions out some food for the Raven Queen and then puts it in a Galder Speedy courier.
Aw, that's adorable.
Love that. Incredible. So, there is
19th level is silly, y'all.
there's one last scene that
I
I
only have
wanted
to
to
cast it
get
at
to
5th.
for the evening before the episode comes to a close. We're probably going to run a little bit over with it, but I guarantee you, I promise you all that it will be worth it. Arjhan, Newell has informed you that this evening is the night of the plan.
Oh shit.
Not this evening, like days pass by, that kind of thing. Like this is the end
so
of the
so
prep
it
week.
it is the day before, and I assume Arjhan has everything and
Yes.
has the hollow spell.
Yep, Philip came
in the
back.
oven.
He had the goods.
Cool. All right.
And
On the 6th day are we, Caelum, where are you?
Caelum, My guy.
Caelum.
RJ.
Sarah, what's up? My
On the
brain
sixth,
kind of.
on the 6th day, are you available to get Rasa from
Yeah.
the Astral Sea? Cool.
For sure.
Yeah, so Arjhan would ask you if you could bring her to where we set up the crater.
You got it, boss.
Right. So, Neil, what shall I expect? I mean, is this here? Is it gonna be here or?
It will not be here. You will have to go into the city proper. One of the few areas that could accommodate a guest such as Rasa is the Infernal Rapture. They also have enough food to source a guest of her variety.
Okay, Infernal Rapture. We will head that way. Thank you.
One more thing. And Newell will pull out what looks like a vial that has a it's like a black mixture that has like a kind of glowing, flowing, almost iridescent green that floats through it. And he states, the queen sends her wishes. She was made aware of the event and understands that you felt more comfortable being her size.
She did that. Okay. Thank you.
And Newell nods and says, you will also wish to pay for your meal using these. And Newell will hand you a bag of coins that, from what you are made aware, this bag of coins, each of these coins has a variety of cost associated with them. However, it looks like you also got a return from what you had requested with Newell. It seems like the overall cost of what you thought this was going to run you is actually going to be halved. So it's no worries on that end either. So, Arjhan, do you drink the potion? And you kind of have an understanding of what this will do. It's not a mystery potion necessarily.
It still only lasts an hour, correct?
It seems like this is a special variety where it's more of a Cinderella situation, where when the clock strikes a specific hour, then Arjhan will return back to regular size.
I'm gonna be the prettiest girl at the party.
Incredible. So, would you like to drink that now or at the Infernal Rapture?
I'll drink it now.
Okay. Yeah, Arjhan, you turn into a full-sized black adult dragon. It's just as warm here as honestly you're kind of used to, but it is something at least that you are able to cover great distances in this form. Now, were you planning on going to the Infernal Rapture together, or were you planning on meeting them there?
Together.
Okay. So, Arjhan, upon drinking this potion, you go towards where the caldera, or Tiamat's probably is where Rasa has been cooping up. And the two of you, Arjhan, as this adult black dragon, ask Rasa to join you at the Infernal Rapture. You've made reservations, and Rasa is like a little like taken aback, and she's here for it. She seems excited about this prospect, and like you kind of assure her like they'll have enough food. I checked. They have the size. Like, don't worry about this. I got you covered. I did my research on what the good spot would be, aka I had Newell do the research on where a good spot would be. I was a little like preoccupied at the time, but she doesn't need to know that. So the two of you are able to make it to the Infernal Rapture. So Arjhan, the two of you are at a dinner, and she seems like kind of excited. Like you can tell that there is excitement there. She keeps meeting your gaze, and then like kind of like looks over your shoulder, like are they bringing out food, like as you do. But she's interested to talk to you. And she starts off by saying that she knows of your heroics, but she wants to know more about you as a person. Or a dragon, whichever one you're more comfortable talking.
I mean, Arjhan will absolutely start talking, but he starts off by just, I know tomorrow is going to be a very important and happy day, and I know that I've asked you to do something for me in the rest of it. But I believe in everyone that we've brought and all the help that we've gotten. I believe in my friends and us, and I am sure it's not going to come to that. But well, if I would still hate for things to go down and just not enjoy this last night before everything.
And Rasa listens and nods and says, I understand that you have asked me to put my very life on the line. Potentially. We don't know how tomorrow will go. That being said, there are people that I care about. There are people, and she is like looking at you when she says people. There are people that I have made promises to, that I intend to keep. One such promise was that in the event, in the untimely, unfortunate, unimaginable event of your passing, that I am to be a godmother. As much as I would delight in raising broodlings, I would rather see you there. Not because I do not want the responsibility. Call me selfish, if you wish. But I would enjoy seeing more of you alive.
And Arjhan will give her the short story of everything.
And Rasa just listens. And she will gladly listen to your story for as long as you'd like her to.
How does she react to a couple of things? Number one, Tarlean.
She does not know who that is. Rightfully. When you mention, like, I was a clone and now this has been brought up, she just sort of nods. And I feel like she would comment that as part of her job as working for Queen Vlaakith, she has gone in and out of a variety of worlds, of a variety of places, and she has seen people and civilizations and cultures to a point where she does not define one's origin on their merit, on who they are. For this, when you say, like, oh, I came from this, she sort of, like, she kind of continues or explains that much, at least, or presents her opinion, her perspective on it. And she says that ultimately it isn't the origin that defines who you are. It is what you decide to do with yourself that defines who you are. We can inherit traumas, we can inherit past hardship, but ultimately it's who we are that define us. And she says, myself, for example, for many red dragons, they say that I am too timid, that I am peculiar, and that ultimately I most likely will not be remembered outside of the Queen's record. And then I encountered all of you. And now I am serving the Queen directly in a battle, potentially, to decide the fate of all things. And that's not even the best part. The best part, from what I have found, has been spending time with all of you. You, specifically. The others are nice, but I enjoy your company. And I like that you ask me things and make me feel smart and useful. And I want to continue feeling useful and smart and appreciated in your company. Before you, I don't believe that anyone had said that they appreciated me before.
That's hard to believe. But I understand. I mean, I like the way you make me feel. Last time I took this form, you called me beautiful. That wasn't the first time that I've heard it. But it was the first time that I felt it and believed it. I'm strange. I've always struggled expressing myself, and I know that I'm not going to express the way that I feel around you, or the way I see you. Well, beautiful isn't right. Beautiful is what I would call a ruby. Brilliant, radiant, yes, full of color. But rubies are also cold, hard, perfect, but lifeless. You're full of warmth. Primal heat, the kind of warmth that pinpricks away the numbness that comes with the chill winter's night. As if I've spent my whole life in the snow and have felt the fire of the hearth for the first time. But you're not like a hearth fire. That's too tame, too safe. And I wouldn't use the words to describe a bonfire either. A wildfire maybe, but a force of nature. Powerful, cruel, but not wicked. A burn that washes over and allows new, healthy life to arise from the scorched earth, but that's not precise either. You're like... And I don't know if Arjhan can actually still do this, but he's going to draw blood and ignite his claws.
I'll allow it.
And a familiar bright red carmine flame. God, I forgot the actual chemistry of it.
Yeah.
Sparks of life. The carmine flames of Hemocraft. Deadly and precise when used as a weapon, but each strike able to cauterize the wound it leaves. I have the history with the flames. It's an integral part of me, even though it's not something I look back on fondly. And I clearly have a complicated history with this body. The one you called beautiful, but this is the spitting image of my sire, who saw it and me as a tool to claim and use for himself, but you help those wounds fade. You help those wounds fade, cauterized by your fire. I don't think I have the words. Beautiful, warm, dangerous, powerful. No means tame, fire to destroy and to heal. So Arjhan is not going to use words. Instead, he's going to tenderly reach his palm to her cheek and his claws to the base of her neck and gently pull in to kiss her.
She'll allow it. She's here for this. You just smoozed so hard. Holy shit. I'm smitten as the DM. Like, that's some player bleed right there. Yeah, Rasa will embrace you gladly. And you could see kind of leading into it, like, if a red dragon could blush, full swing, like the whole time she is just like, my God, my God. And like, I feel like the embrace lasts the perfect amount of time.
So Infernal Rapture is not just a restaurant, it is also a spa.
Oh yeah.
Fade to black.
Incredible. And as we fade to black on Arjhan's lovely dinner date, and maybe more with Rasa of Tiamat's Legions, that is where we are going to call it for tonight's session. So I'd like to say, first and foremost, thank you to everybody who decided to stop by. Thank you to all of those people who stayed with us till the very end. Like I said, I believed it was worth it, and I was right, because I didn't know that Cyber was going to go that far. This is great. And when I say that far, I was smoothed. It was nice. That being said, I had a blast tonight, but I always have a blast whenever these folks are on the channel. RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hey everybody, you can catch RJ. You can catch me at RJustice on Twitter and Twitch, where I tweet about the nerdy things in my life and sometimes stream with my friend. I'm currently preoccupied banning bots. Woo! You can catch me in multiple places on the interweb, but if you want to see me in those places, check out my Twitter because I normally retweet whenever we go live. Special announcement. Hey, this week on Thursday, over at the Hype Goblins channel, we're starting a D&D game with some lovely people. It's gonna be freaking great. I'm playing an old recurring character named Sulong, Dusty Boy.
Yeah, there was a one shot where he got dusted.
And we've never let you live it down.
No. Yeah,
anyway, yeah, that's starting up where it's touted as a level 1 to 20. So yeah. The special thing about this is we're using all third-party supplements.
Nice.
So Sulong's a barbarian now.
Fits the boy. I'm here for it.
Yeah. But that's me, DanaeKeener.com. Begone bot.
Hello, everybody. I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on the Twitters and the Twitches, where I will be live tomorrow on GGK. We are doing our
masks.
No, I think did we do masks last week, right, Danae?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
Escape Velocity.
You mean on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
There are 2 masks games of which I am aware, and I did not hear the date.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be playing
it's Escape Velocity.
Yeah, my mermaid space mechanic who's super awesome. And then next time Lauren and I are gonna be playing is on Friday, and we're gonna be playing more Monster Road Trip. And then back on this Sunday we'll be back playing our Monster of the Week game, which Indoor is in. And it's gonna be a lot of fun on LBHackEmUp or Hack Recklessly. DanaeKeener.com.
Hoi, I'm Cyber. You can find me on Twitch, CyberWolf1201. We're playing Romancevania right now. It's Castlevania and The Bachelor.
I love
it's great.
Have you seen the pumpkin?
Yes.
I'll go get that clip.
Yeah, we've got like an hour and a half left, but I've also done my own playthrough. It's $25. It's not bad. It's only like 6 hours, and my God, the writing is fun.
Where do I put this?
Oh, careful.
I'll put it
but you can also find me now on Sundays on twitch.tv/HighShelfCollective, where we are 2 episodes deep in a Cypher System campaign in The Legend of Zelda's Hyrule. So that's happening. It's a fun time. And then you can find me here. That's it.
Oh, wow. Hey, that leaves me, everyone. My name's Danner Quinoa. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings, mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can also find me at Danae Keener on Twitter. There is a pinned tweet there where you can see my schedule and everything that's going on. And oh my God, these guys are all really hot. Sorry, I just looked up Romancevania. That's going on the wish list for sure. DanaeKeener.com.
And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey, Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this on Monday and Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As LB said, also check me out over there on Sundays playing Monster of the Week. It's a great time. Speaking of great times, the last announcement for tonight, as far as where you'll be able to find me, is that at the end of the month / start of the month, April 1st, I'm going to be a part of Mercy Road 4. That's our dear friend of the channel, Saucefire, is putting on. Mercy Road is a crazy cool charity that supports the Child Play charity. Last year, I think he ended up raising like $8,000 or something like that for charity. It was insane. It was a great time, absolutely fantastic, and I am excited to be a part of that game. I'm actually going to be in the same game as our very own Sarah Hype Goblin, so that's also going to be a cool thing to look forward to. So consider checking that out. But other things to consider checking out are after show Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community but also from each other. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns for myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us at our Patreon, patreon.com/indooradventures, or you can check up the Discord. The link can be found in the Twitch chat to the side or in the description of this video or audio cast down below. But that is it for the game. So I'd like to say once again, thank you to everybody who decided to stop by. Thank you to these players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week. And we'll see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.